This is basically me reacting to SDS's latest video where they've decided to create their own Mount Rushmore for the Premier League. And now, what is the Mount Rushmore, chat? I think this is the most important thing, right? Because everybody's going to have their own definition. My definition, I think the Mount Rushmore should be based more so on your legacy and what you've done in the league and how you've kind of impacted the league more than just on the pitch, but even the Premier League as a product. I think that has a lot to do with your legacy as a Premier League player. And when I look at, for example, the Mount Rushmore of presidents, it's not per se the greatest, it's not like the best presidents that the US has ever had. It's more so the most iconic presidents, the presidents with the greatest legacy, the presidents that are remembered the fondest. So I do think when we talk about Premier League Mount Rushmore, you guys are going to be thinking it should just be the 4 best players to ever play in the Premier League. I don't think it's as simple as that. I think for me, my 4 players, once I kind of hear theirs, will be decided on which 4 players helped shape the Premier League the most. And that doesn't have to be the ones just at the start, because you might say, oh, the ones at the start will have shaped it the most. But as time goes on, you continue shaping and building the Premier League into the product that it is today. However, let's get into it and let's see what these guys are saying.
It's 4 names, right?
Yeah.
I think we should each say one name that is 100% guaranteed.
That we think is 100% guaranteed.
100% guarantee on this Mount Rushmore. Okay, let's do it. Chat, for me, 100% guarantee on the Mount Rushmore. I know I said all 4 of them aren't going to be the 4 best players in Premier League history for me. But I think the best player in Premier League history has to be on this list. And for me, that's Thierry Henry. For me, Thierry Henry has to be on this list. I think in terms of the style in which he did it, the foreign appeal that he kind of brought to the Prem, which was starting to grow of Eric Cantona, Bergkamp, all those guys. But I think Henry took it to a whole new level. I think he won 3 golden boots, I think, in the Prem. Couple of Premier League titles as well. Went invincible. I think the celebrations, the aura. Yeah, man. I think, and I just think, look, I don't think anybody's peak has reached the peak level that Thierry Henry reached. I always say, right? You think of the best players ever. They all played for Barca or Real. And Henry eventually ended up doing so as well too. But like for the most part, they spent their peak years at Barca or Real. And the Premier League had at one point, I really think, maybe Ronaldo as well too in 08. Definitely Ronaldo. But for, I'd say, a number of years, not just 1 year, a number of years, the Premier League had a candidate that they could put to the table when it came to best player in the world. Before that and after that, I don't think they've had many times where they can say a stretch of period they had the best. But for that period, I think Henry was that. So for me, Henry is a guarantee for Premier League Mount Rushmore.
No
And
questions
then we'll
about
talk a
it.
little bit about them, give them their credit, and move
And
on.
then 2, 3, 4. And then the last one, leave it like, maybe that's a bit of question marks.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that.
Should we
I
do it
like
that way?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It
So
should
for
be.
me, my guarantee is
This man
Henry.
will have him in. Should be.
Okay.
Surely.
Has to be.
Surely.
And I'm looking behind
Just players, we'll say.
Fuad.
Mhm.
You know, near him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking there.
Yeah.
Everyone nodding?
Yeah.
If you're an audio listener, we're looking at a famous 03-04 Arsenal shirt.
There you go. They got the same one as
Thierry
me.
Henry. We all have Thierry Henry.
Of course.
That one's 0405.
04-05. But he
Correct,
wore that
you
shirt,
are.
but yeah, 04-05. You got me there. 04-05. I got 03-04.
Mastermind.
Hey, who's the secret Arsenal fan now?
Yeah,
Come on,
look,
yeah,
he
we
lost
lost
that.
that.
Vieira scored a penny in
Yeah.
that shirt. Yeah.
I know that one very well.
yes.
That's the stand-up speak-up year as well. Yeah, I'm gonna stand-up speak-up.
wristbands,
Wristbands,
wristbands.
yeah. To this day, 2024, still stand-up speak-up. Crazy, but you know, we won't talk on that.
Thierry Henry. We've all got him?
Yep.
100%. Why do we all have him? Why is he such a shoe-in? Why is he such a guarantee?
He
You know?
is.
He hasn't
he
won
is-
the most Premier Leagues. He's not
We can all
all-time
agree with that,
goal
chat,
scorer.
right? Henry has
You
to be
know?
here.
You're talking
He
about.
hasn't won a Champions League at his Premier League club. Why is he such a shoe-in?
He is almost a definition of an era. I feel like, you know, like how sometimes in wrestling you talk about attitude era, and the first faces that come to your head are like Stone Cold and The Rock.
Facts.
When you think of the Premier League, as we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, the Barclays men era,
Yeah.
the first face you think of is Thierry Henry. Why?
100%.
Probably because 90% of us who aren't Arsenal fans, he tormented all of us as kids. Premier League,
Even Real Madrid.
season after season.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Brother, he slapped.
he waltzed through Sergio Ramos, Ronaldo,
slapped
Guti.
Sergio Ramos.
Everybody got pushed out of the way.
No, demonstration, isn't it? Demonstration.
Aye, this face right here, hold on. This face right here that Levan has given him, this is the face your parent gives you when you do some audacious shit and they're about to slap the fuck out of you, bro. That's that face Levan is given to Faisal, man. Oh my God.
But what you said there is how, you know, he's not the all-time scorer or anything like that. But for a long time, he was the record goal scorer. up until now, he's still the record assist holder.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, he did both of those records within the space of 2 seasons.
Facts.
And the season where he got the assist record, he got 23 and 20, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The next year set the record again with the Invincibles, 31. It's like the things this guy was doing, and it's not just the things he was doing, but the way he was doing it as well.
Yeah.
That's what
I
it
think
is, right?
every
It's not even the
Premier
it's not
League
even the
great-
numbers. It's the manner in which he delivered the numbers. That's why I always say, right? Like the Premier League has seen some great goal scorers, right? There's a guy with 260 goals in this league, but I think it adds something when the manner in which you're doing it as well too is so dominant, but so like fun to watch. Like Henry, man. For me, I think every single person has to put Thierry Henry on their list.
Centre back we can think of
Yeah.
for United, for Chelsea, for Arsenal, for Spurs, whoever, they will tell you a story of how Henry tormented them.
Yeah.
And for me, he is just the ultimate gunman. Do you know what was the best one? The one against Wigan, where he pops it over the wall
He scores the free kick. They call it back, tell him to take it again, and he takes it again. He's like, "Is that good? Is that enough?"
and he looks at the referee and goes,
Oh,
"Is that
yeah,
enough?
Is that enough?
Is that enough?"
His aura is nuts. Henry's aura. You know that word gets like killed these days, man. People be using that word so incorrectly these days. But when you actually like want to talk about players who had aura, like Henry was aura'd out, bro. That guy had maximum aura. Honestly, everything he did, and it was also like the way he like stepped on a football pitch. It almost felt like he had like this like glow around him. Defenders were afraid to tackle him. That for me is like aura in football. Nowadays, people just say aura if they find a player attractive. Calafiori has aura. That's what we're hearing these days. Henry, Zidane, Maldini, like these guys have aura. That's the word aura right there, man.
Yeah, but that's enough. But that's the swagger we're talking about. That confidence, that swagger. It was kind of like I said. I think John Cena is probably the best type of example because he's like somebody that carried the company
By
for
himself,
a while, and
yeah.
I feel like Henry kind of felt like that in
But
some
you
ways.
even
There were
think about it,
stars.
the gloves, the shorts. It was when you start like characterizing them with how they even dress,
Yeah.
the knees, the socks over the knees,
Yeah.
all that. You just think of Henry.
Henry, 100%.
All right, okay. So that one we didn't have much of a debate. You know, mate, I'm sensing there will be further down the video. That one was pretty much of a shoe-in. And I want to know if any of you guys would not have Henry. I'll be interested. If
It's
anyone else would not
impossible.
have Henry.
Anyone in here not have Henry?
You're under your 15.
Yeah.
15.
But it
must be
doesn't
a
matter
baby.
because the next player I have, I didn't really get the pleasure of watching him play, but I still have him in.
Of course.
You know, and my next player is Alan Shearer.
Ooh, Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer. I hear it. He's the top goal scorer in the entire competition's history. But I don't know if he's in my Mount Rushmore, bro. I'll be real. That's a tough one. That is a really tough one. People are going to say I'm being disrespectful here. But before Messi, do you guys remember who was La Liga's top goal scorer? And would he have made the La Liga Mount Rushmore? Debatable. Before Kylian Mbappe broke I think Kylian Mbappe ended up breaking the league top goal scorer record ever, no? But before that, does anybody know who it was? No, in fact, no. Mbappe doesn't have the most goals in Liga. I'm bugging. Delio Ones has the most goals in Liga, according to Transfer Market. Would Delio Ones make and I don't know. Maybe I'm disrespecting history here, but would he make the Ligue 1, Mount Rushmore? I don't know if he would. I'm not sure he would. I'm not saying Alan Shearer is not on here. I think Alan Shearer has a great case to be on the Mount Rushmore. If I could be convinced to put Alan Shearer on there. Like he's a very worthy candidate. He won the league, which I think is a massive thing for being part of the Mount Rushmore. He has the most goals. He's done it for 2 different teams. He stretched such a span of the Premier League. But is he in the Mount Rushmore? I think he's definitely a big candidate. Like he's definitely a massive, massive candidate, man. Most goals, did it early, multi-teams, title, what else? Like I said, huge case for it. But then you also have guys like who won multiple league titles. They're also in the top 10 Premier League goal scorers of all time. They were part of the most iconic Premier League teams of all time. Their world recognition. Here's another thing too of Alan Shearer. Like if you go to Africa, if you go to South America, if you go to the US, is Alan Shearer one of the first names that people are telling you when they think of the Premier League? This is why I'm saying, for me, the Premier League Mount Rushmore is more than just the best players. I can be convinced Alan Shearer is on there. I'm not trying to say Alan Shearer doesn't deserve to be on here. But there's also a lot of other candidates too that if Alan Shearer had to miss, like Henry, for me, there is not a chance in hell Henry misses out on the Mount Rushmore for me. Shearer, I could be convinced otherwise, but we'll see. Let's keep going.
I've got a
You
show as
didn't, you
well.
didn't watch much of Alex
I mean,
Shearer?
he left Newcastle in 06.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
I started
so,
watching
yeah,
it.
so
Oh,
to be fair, I was maybe 2-3 seasons of him. Yeah, nah, to be fair.
We've got. I feel like we've got someone who doesn't have Aaron Shearer.
You don't have Alex
The
Shearer?
guy who actually probably got a chance to see
Yeah, Fuad is his age mate, bro.
What? You don't?
Serious gun, man.
Is he on your Mount Rushmore?
He's not my Mount Rushmore though.
What?
It sounds crazy. I know. It sounds
What is
crazy.
this guy on?
I was trying to accommodate others. When you hear some of the other names, you'll understand why he's
But
not on
okay,
there.
but the fact that he's the all-time
The all-time scorer.
leader scorer in the Premier League,
all-time
That's going to be.
goal
I
scorer.
feel like that you automatically have to be on the Mount Rushmore.
But if
I
that's
mean,
the
goal
case, then
scorer,
every
he's the
single
only player in history who's
league's
got
Mount
over
Rushmore, the
100.
top scorer has to be on there. If that's the case, then let's do it for every single one. The top scorer has to be on there. I just think I'm not saying it's cheap. He scored all those goals not by chance. He did it, but
Also
I don't
more
know.
than one club in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Both back
He's
with
in 100
Newcastle.
club for 2 clubs.
For 2 clubs, yeah.
Both clubs.
It's over 14 seasons in the Premier League.
And another point
I'm
as
not
well,
mad
the
at goals
gap
for Golden
between
Boots.
the second and first, so he's what 260 goals, right? The gap between him, who's
Harry
second,
Kane.
is
The
Harry
first
Kane.
3
I think
seasons,
It's
like
not.
all
It's not.
50
the Premier
small,
League
you
had
know.
like
It's
extra.
huge.
The Premier League had like extra 4-6 games in the first.
Oh, look at this guy, man.
don't
You're
do that,
shameless,
man.
man.
Little-
little
little
cheeky-
cheeky-
little
cheeky stat pad you can do in
Shit.
them
Oh,
games.
come on.
Come on, man.
Come
Be for
on.
real,
Yo, I'm just
man.
saying. I'm just
Be
stating
for
the
real,
fact.
man. Bear in
But
mind,
I don't have any.
Gerd
issues
Muller
with
for me
Shearer.
would
I
be
don't have an
there,
agenda
but he's
against
also
Shearer.
got how
I've
many
just got other
Bundesliga
players
titles? Like,
who I think are worth considering into the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Shah can look over my screen. Some of those names are worth considering. So,
there's many names off.
so for me,
yeah,
I
that's
think,
what I'm saying.
listen,
Shearer for me is
is
worth considering.
gr-
I'm not
the
debating
greatest
that.
goal scoring feat, but goal scoring is not the be all and end all. And I think for me, I always have Henry. When it comes to strikers, Henry is like the GOAT and the benchmark that I look at. And I'm like, all right, we've got a centre forward in. Cool.
I don't feel like you're giving Shearer the
I don't agree with that
doesn't.
logic. There can be
Yeah,
numerous
you're
center
talking
forwards.
about
I'm just
a
saying.
striker.
I haven't said anything.
I know, but that's not arguing. You're telling me about your bro.
I can- do you want me to make the case for who I do have in?
There is honourable options,
Yeah.
which is cute. There is undisputed, bro. Shearer is undisputed. You can't.
I
think
don't
of
know if
Premier
he is
League,
undisputed, chat. And look, you guys might even
Guys,
the comments right now on
all-time
YouTube. If you guys are watching this on YouTube later, you guys might be thinking, "Who the hell is Lyes thinking of?" You'll see when I bring other names up. But there's guys who have crazy longevity. There's guys who scored a lot of goals. There's guys who've won a lot of titles. They have huge moments in the Premier League. I think you're kind of limiting the level of the Premier. You're like downplaying it if you say like Shearer is undisputed. So then what? There's only 2 more places, and those ones have to be argued between like 50 other players.
scorer
Yes.
of the Premier League.
Statistically incredible.
We're doing a Premier League Mount Rushmore, and you're telling me you don't have the goal
You're
scorer.
about to make a stern case for a guy you haven't seen much of.
I've seen.
Yeah, but
I've
just
seen-
because-
I've seen-
Just you're looking at numbers,
Yeah,
and listen, I'm not saying he was a great player. He bullied the centre forward for years, but for me, I was never moved by Shearer. And when I think of the Premier League, for example, how I'm looking at you is if I had to present the Premier League to someone and I was going to show them 4 players.
See, I like
Shearer
that.
would not
That's
be-
different. That's different.
I like that description. That's the way I view the Mount Rushmore. If I had to talk to somebody about the Premier League for the first time, they've never heard of the Premier League, and I have to bring 4 players to kind of sum up the Premier League. To be fair, if I have to do that, then you could argue the best players should be there, the top scorers should be there, the guy with the most titles should be there. I don't know. I could hear that. Fairs. I think Fuad's kind of defeating his own logic there, but I like the way he wants to describe the Prem. I think though he's kind of just walked himself into a hole there though.
it's
That's different
Can I just
How
say
so?
something?
because
yeah?
you're talking about your
and
plays.
and even I've got a defender. in
Plays
there.
I present them at
That's
one
the
in
thing.
my list.
No one's probably got a defender on their Mount
I've
Rushmore.
had. I was close to having a defender. In
Same.
There you go.
Same.
But I only got 4 spots.
So Mount Rushmore's gonna have
can't lie, I can't
absolutely
lie.
no defenders.
No,
whatsoever.
Oliver. I'm
Do I have
speaking
to
about
keep
it
it?
purely
Do I have to keep it?
objectively.
No,
Like if,
no,
if
no, no,
even
no,
if
no,
somebody
no,
was
no,
like
one
a
defender,
neutral
one
but loved the
striker.
Premier League, who would be the 4 players they would tell someone about? Fair. It doesn't have to be me.
Striker, one goalkeeper, right?
You could do that if you want to.
Is that what you
I
want?
didn't want to do that.
So they.
'Cause I felt like outfield players.
Which
was
kills
so-
your point.
So Shearer, yeah, 14 seasons in the Premier League.
14 seasons.
Out of those 14 seasons, he's hit double digits. He's never hit double digits. Only
Maybe
3
three?
seasons.
Yeah, 3
and
seasons.
and all 3 of them seasons was because of injury.
Didn't play the full. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's
Yo,
obviously.
look,
Yeah, I like that,
three of
JH.
you've
The
got
4
him in,
players
I
you
guess he's
can't
gonna
tell the
be in,
story of
but
the Premier League.
Personally, I wouldn't have him in.
Put
Shearer doesn't
forward.
move me like that. Great goal scorer though.
Play forward. Actually, no. Before we do that, should we just say out to you, and then because his one might be the worst, like the bottom one. You know what I mean?
That's fine. I mean, I'll put Shearer in there because 3 of the 4
Hold
was
on.
I can't wait.
With Shearer, but then he can mention afterwards.
Yeah.
The players that he wanted to put in.
I think the next one I think is undisputed as well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's Waza.
Yes.
I got
Yes,
Wazza.
yes, 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 yes,
got
yes,
Wazza
yes.
in there.
Now we're talking. This guy for me, he's got to be in here. Rooney for me has to be in there. Rooney for me has to be in there. And I don't care who you support. I think Rooney for me, look, let me tell you guys this, right? I grew up in the US. I grew up in Canada and the US. And I love the Premier League. I watch the Premier League every single weekend for as long as I can remember. I remember, right? Back in 06, 07, 08, this is before really football as a product and the Premier League as a product is really becoming one of the biggest things on people's televisions. Like, people know about football, but they don't really like embrace it. They don't digest it every single weekend like maybe they do a bit more now. Wayne Rooney, right? I remember back in the day at home, the people in my school, the ones that they know about footballers in general, they know Messi, they know Ronaldo, they know Ronaldinho, they know Pele, that's how they call him, Pele, and they know Wayne Rooney. Bro, they know about Wayne Rooney more than they might know about Johan Cruyff. They know more about Wayne Rooney than they might know about Maradona. Wayne Rooney is like one of the guys that everybody in the US knows, and I feel like you go all around the world, Rooney, you know Rooney? Like, I remember going to Algeria, tu sais Rooney? That's the guy, honestly, everybody knows. FIFA cover star, brilliant. Oh my God, how many times did this guy feature on the front of FIFA covers? It's not even just in England. In the US, it's Rooney and Ronaldinho, Rooney and Kaká. Bro, I'm telling you, at one point, Wayne Rooney had like the world in a chokehold. And then you look at actually what he did on the pitch, the amount of league titles he won. I think the fact that he played in the Premier League from basically as a 16-year-old and the way he kind of made his name as a 16-year-old to then joining Manchester United, the biggest club in the country, and kind of being part of the reason, along with Ronaldo, that got them back to winning Premier League titles. And then when Ronaldo left, he embraced the limelight of Manchester United, who at one point, look, Real Madrid are the biggest club in the world, but at one point, Man United were considered, I would even say, slightly below them in terms of like world reverement, in terms of how many people know about Man United. So you're talking about the biggest player, the player with the most spotlight on him, on probably the biggest world, the biggest club in terms of what's the word? Commercially. The biggest commercial club in world football, he's the biggest name on there. Wayne Rooney, for me, what he did, the amount of goals that he scored, he's in the only player to have over 200 goals and over 100 assists, even though I think Salah might be on the verge of doing that himself as well too. So Wayne Rooney, I have to say, I think this guy's a shoo-in. The bicycle kick for me at one point was like the face of the Premier League. Like, that was like the goal that you thought of until a year later when Aguero kind of had that one. So for me, I got Wayne Rooney in my Mount Rushmore. For me, my two for sure, Rooney and Henry. There you go. I agree with that, Faisal.
Oh my God, you don't have
How
to.
was that?
Huh? It's just like
What?
what are you on, man?
I'm different.
Yeah, you are different. I clocked it. Who do you have? Who do you have instead? Van der Vaart.
No, I've got Ryan Giggs.
Your legend Van der Vaart.
No, Ryan Giggs.
I've got Ryan Giggs. I've got Giggs as well.
I can fuck with Giggs as well too. I can listen to Giggs. Yeah, I can hear Giggs. Giggs for me and Shearer, you're looking at it similarly in terms of longevity, in terms of how many. Giggs has the most Premier League titles ever. And he had a part to play in every single one of them. Giggs, I think, was the only player until his last season to have scored in every single Premier League season that he took in. Oh my God. Guys hate Ryan Giggs as a player. Guys hate Ryan Giggs as a player. That's crazy. I can't believe 2 out of the 4 are United players. Well, let's face it. The Premier League is a league that has, for the most part, been dominated by Man United. They have more than twice as many as second place in terms of Premier League titles. It's kind of hard to say Man United aren't going to dominate a Mount Rushmore. They're the biggest club in the country. They're the club that's won 13 Premier League titles, more than twice as many as second. I can't lie. United deserve to. United do deserve to. And I have to be honest, Ryan Giggs would probably be my second guy I put forward. I have to be honest. City has 8 Premier League titles. No, they have 8 league titles, no? City got what? 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, they might have more than 6. Oh, shit, they do have 8. My fault. Yo, I forgot City won the last 2. Hold up. They have almost... Okay. My fault. They have almost twice as many as second. I completely forgot. City been going crazy the last few years. Fucking hell. Yeah, not fair. I mean, that probably points to the fact that City might deserve one as well, too, in terms of Mount Rushmore. But let me say this, right? United have been the most successful team in this country, and they have dominated for the most part the Premier League. Having United with 2, Paul Scholes is over Giggs. Nah, you guys, I don't think you guys know who Ryan Giggs is. I genuinely don't think you guys understand what kind of player Ryan Giggs was. This is crazy to me. Man said Paul Scholes. I love Paul Scholes. I love Roy Keane. Bro, Ryan Giggs. Oh my God. Yo, guys don't know who Ryan Giggs is as a footballer. One of these days we might have to watch some comps. Horrible person. But as a player, my God. I got Giggs in here, man. Or at least for me, he's in consideration. For me, Rooney and Henry, they have to be there. Giggs is in my strong considerations.
This is what?
We got the same four.
We got the same four. We got the
So
same four.
you lot did the same four.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
What's the other two then?
That said,
So my
Gareth
other two,
Barry is better than
I
Giggs.
have
That's
John
an
Terry.
embarrassment that you said JT.
JT.
Yes,
Any
Coach,
issues? Any issues?
Okay, no.
He was.
I don't hate it. For me, candidate. Chelsea dominated the 2000s in terms of Premier League, or like they were at the forefront of it. John Terry, I think, surpassed Roy Keane as the most successful captain in Premier League history, if he didn't equalize him. For me, John Terry is the best center back in Premier League history, I think, or he's the greatest center back in Premier League history. I do believe that. I don't hate John Terry in there. I don't hate it.
in my shortlist.
He was
but
my
he-
shortlist.
he-
It's
he-
honourable.
no,
Greatest centre back in the Premier League.
It's
He deserves-
honourable
he
Premier League
option.
wouldn't
medals.
make it to my top four.
Honourable
Why not?
option.
He is an honourable mention though. He was in my
Honourable
shortlist.
mention.
He
No,
was in my
what's the
shortlist.
last one?
And then the last one I've chosen, Kevin De Bruyne.
A'udhu
Oh,
billah
yes,
min
yes.
ash-shaytan.
What's going on?
I mean, he has a case. He does have a case, Kevin De Bruyne. He does have a case. But me personally, I would go if I were to take a City candidate. And I feel like this guy is now completely forgotten, right? Because of what Pep has done in the second era of City. I would probably have Sergio Aguero over Kevin De Bruyne in terms of Premier League representatives for Mount Rushmore. I think I would go Sergio Aguero. Sergio Aguero has the most iconic moment in Premier League history. Like, if you're talking about four guys that you can't tell the story of the Premier League without, Sergio Aguero's goal is that is the moment. That is the moment. This is coming from a Man United fan. KDB was there the whole time. Was KDB there from 2011 to 2016? The original City team of Silva, Aguero, company. He wasn't, right? Aguero was like part of the first phase of this City dynasty that you kind of look at. I would go for Sergio Aguero. Look, Kevin De Bruyne, in terms of in Europe, what he's done for City in Europe, he is, for me, the greatest Champions League player in the history of Manchester City. But that's also because the other guys flopped in England, in Champions League, let me tell you. But when you look at just purely what each of these guys has done in the Premier League, are we really going to be that quick to say that Kevin De Bruyne has already surpassed Sergio Aguero in terms of Premier League legacy? Are we going to say that? I'm not 100, and that's nothing against Kevin De Bruyne. I think Kevin De Bruyne is one of the greatest midfielders I've ever seen in my life. But Sergio Aguero, what he did in this league, consistently scoring 20 goals in like less than 30 appearances most years, always there in big games. Guys are saying yes, yes, yes. I don't think it's that obvious. It's Kevin De Bruyne. Do you know who Sergio Aguero is? For me, I'm shocked at how easily we're kind of saying this. Sergio Aguero, I think, has four Premier League titles. He's got 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 18, 19. He's got 5 technically, but I won't really count too tough the 5th one, right? He had a bit part role to play in it. But let's be real, Sergio Aguero didn't play with Pep Guardiola in Sergio Aguero's prime. You can't really hold that too much against him. I have to be honest with you. I think Sergio Aguero, for me, sums up the Premier League more for me than Kevin De Bruyne. This is even beyond who you think is a greater player or who you think for me, when I think of the Premier League, I do think of Aguero more than I think of Kevin De Bruyne, personally. And I think the goal has a huge part to play in it. I think it does. I think you guys are being way too hasty in saying that Kevin De Bruyne is clear of Sergio Aguero. KDB is the defining player of the Pep era. That's fair, of course. The Pep era is not the entire era of the Premier League. There was Premier League football before Pep Guardiola came. And in that period, for Manchester City, Sergio Aguero was the defining player of Manchester City's history. Forget about even the Pep era. Before the Pep era, Kevin De Bruyne was the defining player of Manchester City's history. That was the guy that put Manchester City, for me, over the line of, noisy neighbors to, yeah, we're here. He's one of the catalysts. I think he is the catalyst for the City era. Nothing against Yaya Toure. Aguero has never done what KDB did in the UCL. This is a Premier League Mount Rushmore. For me, what these guys did in the Champions League, I haven't mentioned Champions League for any of these guys. This is what they've done in the Premier League. Genuine question, do you see Aguero more as a Premier League defining player because of nostalgia, since it's that close of an argument? KDB been doing it at a stupid level for mad long. But this is what I said. I didn't say, I started off by saying, for me, this isn't the 4 best players in Premier League history. This is the 4 players that I think you can't tell the story of the Premier League without mentioning these guys. And I think Sergio Aguero, for me, is more of a Premier League figure in terms of like who I think of the story of the Premier League. Sergio Aguero, for me, comes into it more than Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne was the defining player of the most dominant Prem side ever. So what would you say is the most dominant Prem side ever? The 17-18 team. Are we sure Kevin De Bruyne was the defining player of that team? He was an amazing part of that team. But have we ever has Kevin De Bruyne ever had a season, and this is going to sound like I'm hating on Kevin De Bruyne, but Kevin De Bruyne, when Manchester City have won leagues, has never been the guy above anybody else. Let's call it what it is. He's been a huge part, and you could argue he was the best player, But the defining player, like the guy that was dragging this team, I've never thought that personally about Kevin De Bruyne and the Manchester City team. The only time I've ever thought Kevin De Bruyne was dragging Man City on his own was actually the year they didn't even win the league. It was the year Liverpool won it. Outside of that, bro, he was part of amazing teams, and he was a huge part of that. But the defining player of those teams, that for me, I think we're rewriting history a little here, man. I have to say that. I don't think City, for the most part, have a defining player under Pep. I actually think Pep is the defining guy. And if you were making a Mount Rushmore of everyone in the Premier League, Pep would probably be in my Mount Rushmore. But I don't know. Again, I'm a massive fan of Kevin De Bruyne. I think he's one of the best players to ever touch this league. But I do feel like we're kind of starting to rewrite history here now. You could definitely say he is the constant in all of these City teams, right? He's been there from the start to the finish. That you can definitely say. But like I said, guys are saying I'm a City hater. I'm literally giving the argument for Sergio Aguero to be in the Premier League Mount Rushmore. Let's use the words we choose to speak very, very carefully. Let's pick and choose very, very carefully. If I was saying there shouldn't be any single City player in the Mount Rushmore, then you could say, yeah, he's hating on City. He's being biased. But the fact that I'm saying Sergio Aguero, for me, speaks to me more about the history of the Premier League more than Kevin De Bruyne. I'm not saying which player was better in my opinion. I don't see how that makes me a City hater. KDB is the defining player of the Pep era. You're just hating at this point. Okay, I'm hating. All right, fine. Okay. Me, who put Kevin De Bruyne second tier in terms of greatest midfielders of the 21st century, is hating on Kevin De Bruyne. Okay, man. I don't think Aguero has been City's standout player in a title-winning campaign either, not going to lie. For me, 11-12, it was Sergio Aguero. It was. Yeah, Torre had moments, but that was Sergio Aguero for me. Kevin De Bruyne is on the table of the finest midfielders, though surely that has to have some stick in a Rushmore. Is Aguero not in the table of the finest strikers the Premier League has ever seen? When you're talking about the greatest strikers in Premier League history, is Aguero also not on this list? He was the face of the league of the past 8 years of Salah, according to you, but he was never the man for them in a season. Mohamed Salah was not the man for Liverpool every single season, by the way. Mane had years where he was the man. Van Dijk had years where he was the man. Salah had years as well, too. But for me, City are much more of a unit than most teams, to be honest with you. For me, I've always said it. Pep Guardiola is the guy for that Manchester City side. He's the guy. There's been years where Manchester City won the league and Kevin De Bruyne Kevin De Bruyne missed huge parts of the season through injury. Look, amazing player, but I don't think I'm wrong in saying it, at least to make the argument. The fact that you guys are saying there's no argument in it whatsoever, De Bruyne definitely over Aguero in terms of Premier League legacy. I disagree. I don't think it's that clear cut. KDB has won Player of the Year 2 to 3 times, right? I think he won it twice. Did he win it twice? Twice. One of them he definitely deserved. The second one, I have to be honest with you. 21-22, or was it 21-22? 2021. Kevin De Bruyne was not the best player for Manchester City that year. I think Gundogan was better than De Bruyne in the Premier League that year. 18-19 or 19-20, for sure he was the best player. But 2021, is that the year? For me, Ruben Diaz was incredible for City that year. I don't think De Bruyne was the best player in the Premier League that year. Yeah, 19-20, I can't, bro. 19-20 for me is De Bruyne's best year individually. I think so. Vidic won 2, but no, we're talking about PFA. Vidic won Premier League Player of the Season. I think Premier League Player of the Season in 2021. I think Diaz might have actually won it that year. We're talking PFA Player of the Year. Look, if you want to put De Bruyne there, I'm not saying De Bruyne doesn't. Let me make this very clear. De Bruyne has a very good case to be on the Premier League Mount Rushmore. For me, I'm purely saying I think I would put Aguero over De Bruyne in a Premier League Mount Rushmore. That's all I'm saying, guys. Gundogan had flashy moments and was immense, but KDB clears in a season. Hell no, I completely disagree. Gundogan, the way he kind of took over that false nine role that season, especially when Kevin De Bruyne was out. Go look at that period when Kevin De Bruyne missed through winter and how clutch Ilkay Gundogan was for Man City. You're downplaying Gundogan's impact that season, man. Crazy. Why not put both? Like I said, both of them have good cases. If you would like to put both of them, by all means, go and do so. I'm just giving you, I haven't even given you my last 2 picks. Notice that. But for me, I personally think I would put Aguero, if I were ranking City's players in terms of who defines the Premier League the most out of all of them, I would go for Aguero. If you put De Bruyne, no problem. But I'm just saying it's not even a conversation, I think is crazy. I think we're basically erasing the history of what Sergio Aguero did in the Premier League. I think so. We can't have multiple of one team. I'll be so real. That's up to you. I think you could. If you think De Bruyne is City's greatest player ever, that's fine. I probably agree with that. But that's also taking everything into account. That's probably taking everything into account. For me, in the Premier League, and like I said, it's not about the greatest 4 players. It's not about the 4 best players. Who resonates with the story of the Premier League more for me, Aguero or Kevin De Bruyne? I think of Sergio Aguero. And a huge part of that is, like it or not, that moment. He has the greatest moment in Prem history. I think that has to hold a lot of weight when we're talking about this. But anyways, let's keep hearing what they're saying. I'm sounding like a Kevin De Bruyne is one of my favorite players ever, bro.
What's going on? What's going on?
Bismillah.
Yeah, you're trying to be. You're doing stars.
I'm not doing stars. I'm not doing
a star play
stars
today. Still,
because who you said?
So
You said
let's
Giggs.
put KDB on the table.
Okay.
You're gonna present KDB to us. Yeah.
Right.
I want you to present an argument.
I didn't
right
put
now
Aguero on my
as
table
to
yet.
why you
No, I
think
just said he has a strong
KDB
case.
should be on the table ahead of Wayne Rooney.
What do you mean ahead of Wazza?
Because you haven't got Rooney.
Because you haven't
I
got
don't
Wayne
have
Rooney.
Rooney, yeah.
But you have KDB.
The whole reason why I have KDB for me, I feel like this whole Pep era,
Yeah.
he is the one constant throughout it. A guy who, after an ACL injury, still has managed to come back and still.
Who's
be
in
the
your
best
table? So
player,
far for
not
me,
only in the
Henry
league,
and-
but in the world. Over 100 assists.
So far for me, I got Henry and Rooney. Those are my two that I have so far. I'm building up a case of players that have a chance. Shearer for me has a chance. Aguero has a chance. I agree De Bruyne has a very good case as well too. Giggs for me has a very, very good case. And like I said, I'm going to say this a million times until people understand. For me, the Mt Rushmore of any league is not just about who are the 4 best players to have ever played in that league. It's not about who are the 4 greatest players. For me, it's about who, if I'm telling the story of the Premier League, who can I not basically get away without saying? They have to be in that conversation. Like, they summarize the Premier League. They add to the story of the Premier League. Their legacy is so crucial to what the Premier League is today. That's all I'm saying.
KDB for me, I feel like this whole Pep era, he is the one constant throughout.
Agreed.
A guy who, after an ACL injury, still has managed to come back and still be the best player, not only in the league, but in the world.
Debatable. I don't think Kevin De Bruyne has ever been the best player in the world. That's
Over
debatable.
100 assists. How many Premier League players can say that?
How many players in the Premier League can say they have 100 assists? I think a lot of them can say they have. Not a lot, but Hold on. How many in the? Hold on. Maybe I'm stretching it. How many can say 100? Maybe I'm dragging it with that one. 100. Does Fabregas have 100? I'm not saying Fabregas over De Bruyne, but how many have 100 Premier League assists in Premier League history? Because I'm dragging it. I was thinking Bergkamp, but Bergkamp I think has under 100. To be fair, 5. Wayne Rooney, Frank Lampard, Cesc Fabregas, Kevin De Bruyne, Ryan Giggs. So he's one of 5. Impressive. Very, very impressive. For me, De Bruyne is the best creator I've seen in the Premier League.
Probably the closest one to Ryan Giggs in maybe half the games. Everything you lot give Lampard credit for the goal scoring, he does it.
No, but he doesn't do it on the level of Frank Lampard. Let's call it what it is here. Frank Lampard is a far more distinguished goal scorer than hold on. Who had dragged it there? Frank Lampard is damn near top 5 for most goals in Prem history. Hold on. Relax. Lampard got 177 goals, bro. How many does De Bruyne have? This is where we're going too far. De Bruyne's got 69. Lampard has over 100 more goals. Let's relax there.
All-round game you lot give Gerrard credit for, he does it. The
De Bruyne's all-round game is not on Gerrard's level. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that.
creative playmaking that you give Scholes credit for.
Yeah,
he does
they're
it. All of the
clear.
greatest midfielders in the Premier League that you talk about, Kevin De Bruyne sits on the table eye to eye with them, if not better than
Can I
most
say
of
I
them.
would agree.
Now,
He's
Wayne
on their
Rooney
level.
is a
He's on all of their
striker.
guys' level.
Of course, he's going to have more goals. He's going to have the 100 assists. And he played similarly in a great United side that was dominant. But I feel like you can't.
Why is Rooney?
completely
Of course, he's
discount
going to have
modern
100
era.
assists. He has 200 goals, 100 assists. That's not an of course whatsoever for a guy that really wasn't a striker or a number 10. Yes, I think he means he has all these things. Yeah, but a lot of people have all these things. There's a lot of players like that can say they were great goal scorers. They created a lot. What else? Like they're great creators. Like they're all around. Like yeah, there's a lot. Yaya Toure was all of those things as well too. And I know not to the level of De Bruyne, but like for me, this is not like just say De Bruyne has been either the best or the second best player for 8 years. That's the way I would use to put De Bruyne here. I just think like these points from Fuad. You're describing why De Bruyne is a great player, but like it's not really standing out for me. He is a big guy, but for me, the argument that he's using is the way I would describe Kevin De Bruyne. One of the greatest, for me, if I were to make the case for Kevin De Bruyne to make the Mount Rushmore, is this. Arguably, the most dominant team ever. Not the most dominant team in the history of the Premier League, but like in terms of who's won the most. But for a period, the most dominant team for one period in Premier League history is this Manchester City team. The player that is the constant from start to finish is Kevin De Bruyne. And for that period, you could argue, and you'd have a strong argument to make, that he was the best player from start to finish of that era. That's the way I would use to describe it. This whole thing of he's got this many assists, he's got that many goals. A lot of guys have a lot of great stats in the Premier League, man. De Bruyne is not the first guy to do these, like his stats are incredible, but they're not unheard of. Let's call it what it is. Like Frank Lampard is also, I think, top 10 assists and top 6 goals. Is Frank Lampard going to be on the Premier League Mount Rushmore for Fuad?
Bro. Just because you have that nostalgic feeling towards the elders. Now, don't get it. If someone wanted to come and put Salah forward in this case, I would have no qualms. But for me, I think Kevin De Bruyne is making a very solid case. 7 to 8 years of being one of the best players in the world, dominating the league. I think top assister three times. How many players have done this in Premier League history?
Yeah, not many. That I agree with.
He's done so many historic things in his position, in his team. I feel like he has a case to be on that Mount Rushmore. If man are telling me De Bruyne has no case to be there, you're lying to yourself.
I wouldn't say he has no case.
To yourself.
I wouldn't say no case.
So why is
he's
this
not ahead. No, because De Bruyne, there's a lot of names I would still put ahead of Kevin De Bruyne.
So Rooney now, you said.
Yeah.
Now give me the Rooney case.
Yeah, I would put Rooney over De Bruyne. Again, this isn't who you think is better. Personally, I would edge it to Rooney. But I would definitely admit there's not much in it. De Bruyne is an incredible player. But again, this goes down to who sums up the Premier League more. I think Rooney is more synonymous with the league. Like, he's one of the faces of English football in general. I would put Wayne Rooney over Kevin De Bruyne. Although I would 1000% say the argument between them as players, Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best players I've ever seen.
Go first or do you?
You go.
Okay, so for Wayne Rooney, we're talking about a player. Yes, he can be classified as a striker, but he's also a player that played in so many different roles for Manchester United. You're talking about the complete footballer. Forget striker.
Yeah,
he could create goals. He could score goals.
Yes, sir.
He could.
But now this is just kind of going who's the better player. That's not what that's not what the Mount Rushmore is about.
Shift in midfield.
Not for me, anyways.
Up front on his own, he could play up front on his own. He could play on the left. He could play on the right. Rooney is literally the definition of what I call
a total footballer.
A total footballer.
Agreed.
Combining that with the numbers as well. Any team, regardless of how good that team was, you look at some of the biggest names that he played with over the years. Rooney would always be one of the best players on the team. From the age of, we're talking about a player that started from the age of 16, scored a wonder goal against Arsenal's Invincibles. A wonder goal at the age of 16. The guy didn't complete his GCSEs. He said, one GCSE, I'm going to score against Arsenal instead. Then went on to Man United at 18, scored a hat-trick on his debut against Fenerbahce in the Champions League. Announcing yourself in the Champions League.
Champions League for me, it doesn't come into effect.
Apart from maybe Mbappe and you got Lamine Yamal.
In terms of wonder kids.
You talk about wonder kid. Definitely. He was legitimately.
Agreed.
Do you not feel there was many years at United where he was a Robin?
No.
Okay, no,
Impossible.
stop.
No. Rooney, even if he was
to Ronaldo, to Van Persie.
No.
That's like saying De Bruyne as
Rooney.
That's like saying De Bruyne as like a Robin to Erling Haaland. Like, there's two world-class players playing together, bro.
He was selfless.
He was too selfless.
I agree.
To the point where hold on a second.
I agree.
Selfless, but still will make sure that his impact on the pitch was always felt. If you didn't have Wayne Rooney on the pitch, you feel it. You can have Cristiano Ronaldo, you can have Ryan Giggs, but just removing Rooney off the pitch, you feel the impact.
Look at Faisal right now.
Work rate, that could be the defense.
Bro, look at Faisal. Faisal's hand has been like that for like 10 seconds, bro.
You feel it. You can have Cristiano Ronaldo, you can have Ryan Giggs, but just removing Rooney off the pitch, you feel the impact. And that's just the work rate. That could be the defensive side of things. The energy in the team, the goal scoring, the creativity, everything. Rooney for me is what epitomizes a footballer. Like for me, he's a footballer.
And he's also one of the names that epitomize the Premier League. You said if you were to show people who've never seen the Premier League 4 names, this is the Premier League. Rooney's got to be one of those.
Has
100%.
But Manchester United are the greatest team in Premier League history.
Yeah.
Right. I know you got Giggs in there. But Wayne Rooney is like Mr. Man United.
Look at the catalogue of goals.
Number of assists.
The catalogue. Let's just go. You got the screamers. You got the volleys. You got the bicycle kick against Man City. You got headers. You got free kicks. Any type of goal, chips outside the box, dinks outside the box, any type of goal you could think of, Wayne Rooney has scored it.
And also,
I don't dispute that.
Wait, also.
Rooney's an all-timer. I love Rooney as well.
I think it was against Newcastle where he was.
He was
Rooney, bro, I'm sorry. Like, Rooney, I'm gonna get emotional now, bro. This is my fucking guy, bro. Wayne Rooney. He's got to be in here, man. He's got to be in here. This is a 10 out of 10 episode from Liban so far.
Listen,
come on, man.
So go on. For ages.
There is 3 players in the history of the Premier League who's got 100 goals, 100 assists. Wayne Rooney is one of them.
KDB's not far. KDB's not far.
You are
He's like 33 goals away. Hold on. He's like 30 goals away. Hold on.
United teams, Ronaldo, Van Persie. I'll come to KDB. You forgot 1 year, 2010. The
9-10.
The
Skinhead
year
year.
Ronaldo left.
Skinhead year.
And
That
everyone
wasn't
said,
skinhead year,
oh,
that's the year
United
before.
are finished. They're not going to win nothing. Ronaldo, the main man, has left him. Guess what he did? Delivered and won them the league. Him.
I watched it.
Him.
I remember.
And you telling me about what City? Third of last season. Roger last season. Where was KDB? Injured for 6 months.
And when he came back, what did he do?
You
How
was
many? What did he do when he came
you
back?
were shameless.
10 assists in 18 games.
You were-
impacted the season.
Okay.
Do you remember
He's
guys
a
were
brilliant
shaking
player.
when he came
I
off the
just,
Newcastle
what,
bench?
like the argument now has become who's better, De Bruyne or Rooney? When it like that really shouldn't be the case here. That shouldn't be the argument. Who is a bigger Premier League icon, Rooney or De Bruyne? Who do you think of more when you think of the Premier League, Rooney or De Bruyne? I think it's got to be Rooney. It's not about who's the better player here. If you think Rooney's a better player, so be it. But that's not the case here. I think they've gone off track here.
Back. That's what KDB does. Mount Rushmore level fear.
Hold on. You say this phrase all the time, yeah? You say this phrase all the time. You know what I'm calling this? What is availability? Hold on. What is availability?
You are not gonna use that.
No, hold on. Because Wayne Rooney played with a broken metatarsal. He's played with injured hamstrings.
Do you want to talk about Wayne Rooney's last couple? Do you want to talk about Wayne Rooney's last couple of years at United?
Well, he had 14 years.
Do you want to talk
Oh,
about
this
Wayne
guy
Rooney's last couple
Fuad
of
is
years at
harsh,
United?
man.
You want to talk about Wayne Rooney's
Fuad,
last
when he
couple
wants
of
to
years
win
at
an
United?
argument, will do whatever it
He started
takes.
at the age of 16. He was in the Premier League for how many years?
Now we got
14
burnout.
years. 14. What?
Now we
14
got
years?
burnout.
Even more than
KDB
that.
ain't got
Like
burnout.
16 years. He left the Premier
KDB's
League like
33, still chugging
2018.
along.
Come on, 16 years in the Premier League.
33, still doing it.
16 years in the Premier League.
Yeah, but
You
De
see,
Bruyne, that's
so
such a
I've seen it,
horrible.
but-
Alright, Fuad when he wants to win an argument is so shameless, bro. What, bro? Rooney was started at 16 years old. No shit, he burnt out at 32. De Bruyne at 16 years old, where was he? Who's got more mileage in the legs by 21, by 23, by 25? Come on, bro.
A man can keep up the level post 27, bro.
Oh,
The Premier League
man.
at 2016 after he got shipped out by Chelsea and he had to come back in 20,
After he got
2016.
Bundesliga player of the year.
He got told, yeah, he got sent to the mountains in Germany.
Yo,
and
listen,
then come
all
back.
I'm saying is, I think
Come
you
on,
lot
man.
are doing a disservice to KDB. You're not almost making it seem like KDB is being...
No. You keep pushing this KDB. For us, it's not really an argument against KDB. It's why do you not have Rooney in?
I love
That's
Rooney.
what it
I
is.
would have Rooney in. We could take Giggs out.
Even Giggs though.
If we want to take out Giggs, like I'm cool to negotiate because we haven't even discussed John Terry. Like a man just dismissing John Terry.
Well,
like
not
I would want to ask you guys
Yeah.
this. Who has a bigger case? So if we were to take a Chelsea representative, I'm not saying I'm putting any of these guys on, but who is Mr. Chelsea? No, Mr. Chelsea is not the right answer because John Terry is Mr. Chelsea. He comes from the academy. But who's a bigger Premier League icon between Lampard and John Terry? That's for me an interesting one. Lampard, John Terry, because Lampard, bro, you look at all the 20-goal seasons, you look at the year where he was basically on the Ballon d'Or podium next to Ronaldinho, the big games that he was scoring in. Terry is a bigger Chelsea icon, for sure. He is Mr. Chelsea, he's the captain. But who summarizes the Premier League more? That's an interesting one for me. But the argument I would give for Terry, I think Lampard was their best player. He was. But the argument I would give for Terry is this. Chelsea of that era, which is the Chelsea era, were known for one thing. Like they could beat you scoring goals, of course, but they were known for being the best defensive team on the planet. And at the heart of it, the guy commanding and captaining and orchestrating that defense was John Terry. You look at one of the most, for me, the one record in the Premier League I don't think will ever get beaten is the 15 goals conceded. That's John Terry. That's John Terry all over it, man. So I hear it. I do hear it, man. But I think Lampard, again, for me, it's similar to the Aguero and De Bruyne thing. This is the way I'm trying to interpret it, guys. I'm not saying De Bruyne has no case, just like I'm saying Lampard has no case. But I think for someone to say Lampard has no case over Terry is being disingenuous. Just like I would say someone saying Aguero has no case over De Bruyne, I think it's being disingenuous as well too. These guys are two of the greatest stalwarts in the club's history.
Rooney should be a shoo-in, we believe. Exactly. Well,
Like Lampard's redefined goal scoring for midfielders, not even just in the Premier League, in world football.
Love for Rooney, favoritism would put him in there. But I try to, give it a bit of reason, try not let nostalgia judge me too harsh. Listen,
Bro, I'll be real. You had a stinker. You know you had a stinker. You know you had a stinker.
What?
You know you had a stinker, Ike.
How? I've given you factual evidence. I haven't.
Okay,
You
if
can
we-
keep.
okay, if we
There's
told
no
you- hold
point
on.
saying I've had a stinker without.
If we told you
negating
right now,
with
if we told you right now,
counterpoint.
if we told you right now, you can redo your list right now. 4 players.
Kevin De Bruyne will still be in there.
Is Rooney back in your list?
I like Rooney. He might, but Giggs might have to. We might have to discuss. Why is Giggs on there?
Giggs, easy.
So you lot
got
said
him as
Giggs.
well. All four of us got him in.
Yeah.
Easy.
So Giggs is a lock.
Easy.
But assist, of course.
Easy.
Yeah, he's got the
Is
most
there a part
assists
of
in the
those
Premier
assist numbers
League.
that is
The fact that he's been there
purely-
from the
something
start.
to do-
The moments that Ryan Giggs has as well too. For me, Ryan Giggs, bro, when I think of Manchester United, he's probably the first person I even think of. And that has to do, when you talk about Premier League, who's the first person you think of? The first person I think of for the biggest team in Premier League history, he's got a good case for Premier League, Mount Rushmore.
With the longevity he was in the league for.
Sure, of course.
But
So I have a crazy take on Giggs. Crazy.
Talk to me. Because I think Giggs' career comes in like certain chapters. I think like there's pre-04 Giggs, which I think is like a pacey, direct winger, quality player in my opinion. That was probably my favorite version of Giggs.
I think younger people, they think of Rooney, and rightfully so. Rooney's up there as well.
11, he was kind of inverted, cute technical player.
How many Prems did Giggs win?
Years after that.
13.
But I
He
felt
won
like
every single one of them.
post-04, you
Every
never
Prem
really got
that we
to
won,
see
Giggs won.
high-level Giggs, if that makes sense.
That's why I disagree.
Still had it.
yeah.
You reckon?
I
That assist
disagree.
against West Ham.
I disagree. I think
2012 he still had it.
I think he, of course, there's a quality that never leaves you.
Yeah,
That's the quality he still had in those years. But I'm talking that level of explosiveness. You know, like when he ripped through Arsenal. I don't know if you lot were probably.
I wasn't bored, but that goal was always
replayed, of course.
That year where we played.
07, 08?
Born. Of course you were born.
What year?
No, I was
07?
I didn't see it.
What year was it? That,
03. Ronaldo.
No, the 90 red card. 12-13.
Yes.
12-13.
Giggs ripped apart Madrid that game, bro.
And then Real Madrid.
No, don't say pension.
He was the best player on the pitch.
He was
Even in was it the Champions
He was your best
League?
player.
He was our best player.
Bro, this is the biggest
Barcelona.
indictment to Giggs.
Just-
You could never say pensioner for any year of Giggs' career. There was never a year that Giggs was watched for Man United. Ever, bro. Guys, there were some guys that hit their peak, and the decline was heavy. Giggs, bro, for me, I can't remember a single season where I looked at Giggs and you're like, nah, you ain't got it no more. You can't play for us no more. That's crazy because he played till 41. That's insane. It's not just longevity. It's like the fact that he was at the very worst still a serviceable player for us at 40 years old. That transcends longevity, man.
For Man United.
Second leg.
Even the second leg at Old Trafford, he was
second
bossing
leg.
it. He was the best player.
First leg he wasn't.
First leg he played well.
He played well. But
yeah.
that year as a whole, that season as a whole, midfield as a 10, sometimes you got the right hand side. Bro,
That's what I was saying.
But you call them pension years.
In terms of he was probably playing more central midfield, he wasn't as explosive as he was. You're taking the word pension and putting a negative connotation
what I don't
on
like
it.
nowadays is people are disrespecting longevity.
Yeah.
Why is longevity?
It's not disrespect. I didn't disrespect it. I said to you, did he have the assist numbers because he was there for so long? In terms of no one has been able to catch up to it. I think KDB might be the closest, 115. He's done that in about 7 or 8 years. I'm saying Giggs is.
115. What do you mean KDB 115?
How many assists? I think he's got
115.
Assist in Premier League.
Yeah,
I think so,
115, yeah. That's still. I think Ryan Giggs got how many?
162.
165.
I'm not mistaken.
167, I think. No, am I mistaken?
Something along
I've got
that
here
line.
162. Yeah.
162.
So for me, it's like obviously if KDB gets that same length of time. I'm thinking he obviously obliterates that.
Yeah,
type
but
of
hold
thing.
on. That
You know what
has
I mean?
to do.
Well,
that
I
has
mean-
to do though with Premier League. What's it called? Because I would agree. If De Bruyne, first of all, if De Bruyne had played in the Premier League since he was 18 years old and played every single season up until he was 33, yeah, he would have most likely had more assists than Ryan Giggs. But that's why it's not a who's a better player. It's a who's a bigger Premier League icon or who sums up the Premier League more. Yes, the guy who played from 18 years old to 41 is going to have more of a case for being in a Premier League Mount Rushmore than someone who only played there 8 years. That does help in Giggs' favor, 1,000%.
Yeah, it goes beyond that. I think my take on is, like I said, on Ryan Giggs is crazy. I think for me, when I think about the Sir Alex Ferguson era, if you wanted to pick one player that represents
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane in terms of leadership, yes, but in terms of actual as a footballer, as a player, it's Ryan Giggs for me.
I don't think Roy Keane's a bad shout either, to be honest with you. Like I said, Rooney for me is my first representative for United. But if you were to choose for a second, Roy Keane, Giggs, and Cantona, those would be my 3 second place in terms of who's the next person I would recommend. For me, Giggs, Cantona, in terms of how he completely changed Manchester United as a football club from the minute he stepped in and all the success that followed after him. I don't think any of it happens without Eric Cantona stepping in. So him, Giggs, and then Roy Keane, who is the greatest captain in Premier League history, those would be my 3 nominees after Wayne Rooney for Manchester United.
Was taking on players, beating men, 3-4 men, scoring.
Ronaldo, it just wasn't
crazy
long
goals.
enough. That's the issue.
Then, like you mentioned, from like 03-ish, 04-ish,
He got a big injury.
He had an injury. He had an injury, but then he started also slowing down, and then he evolved his game into becoming a controlling midfielder.
Yeah.
Not a lot of players can go from being like a no, I'm not gonna say Vinicius Junior type, but he had that explosive speed, taking on players.
It is true. Obviously, I don't think any of this has to do with being Mount Rushmore, but Giggs, I'm telling you, bro, his longevity, it's not by chance. Very few players you'll be able to see go from a guy that was like one of the fastest, most explosive wingers in the world to being like a midfielder that just like sat in the middle of the park and sprayed passes around and controlled games like Ryan Giggs. Like few players have, first of all, the mental capacity to be able to change their game completely like that, and then also be able to take care of their bodies as well as Ryan Giggs did. They used to say Ryan Giggs, in terms of yoga, in terms of fitness, like he's untouchable, bro. He's untouchable.
Good amounts of goals to then now controlling and dictating games to the point, and I can vouch for this, to the point where he starting ahead of Paul Scholes.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Made that position was his own mainstay. That was his position in the team. He now started in that position over Paul Scholes. So that tells you not the longevity, but the quality of the player to evolve, the evolution of Ryan Giggs from when he started.
I think that's the most impressive thing about him.
All the way to 2013 when he retired, he was still an important player.
He was
Liban's got a 10 out of 10 this episode for me.
He made his debut, 1990?
Yeah.
Before the Premier League even started.
Yeah.
That's how long.
When Lee sharpened him, man, was still there.
He left. He finally finished at 2014. How long of a time now?
2013, so that was his final season. I think the season where we won our last Premier League title, that was his final season. And even in that season, he was still one of our most important players on the pitch. That Real Madrid, you're talking about the Real Madrid second. Look at the star-studded names on that Real Madrid, on the pitch in general. You got Van Persie's, you got Rooney's, you got Modric, you got Ronaldo, you got Benzema's. And he was the best player on the pitch at 41 years old. We're not talking about someone in their 30s anymore. We're talking about somebody at 41.
If Fergie wasn't the manager, would he have lasted that long?
Ifs and buts and maybes, man. You can say that about anyone. You can say that about anyone.
Hold on, what did he just say?
Team.
If Fergie wasn't the manager, would he have lasted that long?
What the fuck does that mean, Kobe Bryant? What the fuck does that mean? First of all, why wouldn't he have? Yo, that Fuad, I'm telling you, when he's trying to make a point, bro, this guy will say whatever, man.
Some buts and maybes, man. You can say that about anyone. You can say that about anyone.
Can I not just ask a question?
That's a bad question, man.
No, I hate that. That's like me saying if Pep wasn't at City, would we still have those? There's so many ifs and buts. You know what I think? I don't think this might be a hot take of my own now.
Okay.
Is there a shout for Bill on the Mount Rushmore?
I think
not long enough.
I wouldn't put any City players in the Mount Rushmore. If I was going to put one, it would be Pep.
What?
What's that again?
Yeah.
What was that?
I don't think.
What are you talking about right
I hear what he's saying. Faisal just can't speak English, but he's basically trying to say I wouldn't put any representatives for City in a Mount Rushmore, but if I had to, I'd take Pep. And again, like I said, I think two guys have a massive case for it in Aguero and De Bruyne. But again, I completely agree. If this was all figures, if this was the four figures, the four men of the Premier League, it would be for me, Sir Alex, Pep, Henry, and probably Rooney. It would be those four. I think Pep has to be in there now, but I get what he's saying. He just can't speak English. Forgive my friend.
Yeah.
I can't put the likes of KDB.
I think you can.
Why?
I can't put the likes of KDB, the likes of Aguero, the likes of these man, Vincent Kompany. I always think of Pep. I think City.
You can say that about any
is all
Barcelona player.
Sorry. You can't just say a hot
talking
take.
about?
Now I need the explanation. Statement.
take makes no sense.
Statement.
That makes no sense.
You know the English
Pep.
statement, explanation, analysis. Now I need the explanation.
You have to elaborate on that one. I can't lie.
I don't think Faisal's take is that bad. I mean, I don't agree with him saying De Bruyne and Aguero have no chance, but for me, Pep is the guy for City.
I can't lie to you. Not a impersonation of him changes every week, bro.
He gets fatter and fatter.
First.
Damn, man.
Sorry. Man City players, don't think you're getting out of this one.
I know, you know what? Put KDB in there.
See, this is what he's doing now.
Oh, he's emotional now.
Are you sure? So you're not going to stand on business?
No, I'll stand. Listen, I'll say. I look at City for the past 6 years now. 7 years.
8 years, bro.
Yeah, Sir Alex is the biggest figure in United's history.
Forget that Aguero one.
This team, this iteration.
I'm talking about Pep's legacy now. Pep's dynasty at City, which is now 7 years. He's won the league how many times now? He's about to win it 5 times in a row now.
Yeah, he's won it
6 times.
One row now. He's won 6 times. He's won the league 6 times.
6 times. 6 out of 7.
Now,
Yeah.
now,
6 out of 8. Because they didn't win the first
Oh
one.
yeah, the first one. Yeah.
So now
The
he-
first one and then the Liverpool one.
so he's won it so far. How many times? 5 times, yeah. 5 times.
Six.
He's won it
times.
6.
One row plus
Oh,
2.
yeah. Yeah.
2. I look at this dynasty and I look at Pep being the main reason for that. I can't put KDB.
Say something about Ferguson.
No.
Ferguson won the Premier
Yeah,
League
Fergie
with
would
different
be
Uniteds.
before any
Ferguson
United player.
was the
Fergie
90s, the early 90s,
Fergie would be in my
United.
Mount
They
Rushmore. I
dominated the Premier
agree.
Leagues, they won 3 years in a row. Then there was the United version where they were competing against Arsenal.
Class of 92.
Then those,
No,
then
because
those United-
Arsenal,
then-
I don't
then for 3 years,
attribute it as
United
much to Wenger
were
as I
up and
do.
down, and it was
Goddamn.
Invincible.
'Cause I seen someone here say-
Mourinho, United won for 3 years.
Fucking hell.
Then he built.
Why
a
is
new
this not letting me
United,
pause
won
this, bro?
3 in a row with them. That's another United.
Let me speak to my chat, bro. It's a bad take because the Premier League didn't end when Sir Alex left. We've had 10 years since, and KDB has been the main guy. No, but his whole thing is, has City's impact on the Premier League been more so KDB or more so Pep? I think it's been more so Pep. Just like I think Sir Alex. Sir Alex, bro, even more so than Pep, because Sir Alex, it's 13 Premier League titles, and okay, bar Giggs and Scholes, I guess, too. It's Sir Alex, the entirety of that. Like, there's players that weren't there for all of the titles. Arsenal, for me, is different. Because when I think of Arsenal, I do think of Henry first. I do. I don't know how to explain it, but for me, Henry is for me, Arsenal being the powerhouse they are is more on Henry globally than it is on Wenger. Maybe that might be a take that not everyone agrees with, but I do think with City and United, they are so synonymous with Sir Alex and now with Pep Guardiola that I do believe they'd be the two guys. They would be the two guys. Wenger was obviously there before Henry, but Henry, for me, is what made Arsenal a global institution in terms of the whole world all of a sudden loved Arsenal. I think Henry had the biggest part to play in that. When I think of Chelsea and Liverpool, there you go. Liverpool, Gerrard. Without a doubt, Gerrard. No conversation. You can't tell me Benitez was there for a long time. No chance. Gerrard. When I think of Chelsea, I wouldn't think of Mourinho first. I would think of Terry or Lampard. But I think with City and United, I do think of Sir Alex and I do think of Pep Guardiola. That's me personally. This isn't a manager's Mount Rushmore and KDB. Again, I understand completely, but we're just making the case if there were figures involved. If we were saying Premier League figures, then we would make those two. Obviously, that's not the conversation.
So Ferguson had like 4 different Uniteds.
Bro.
So now you're going
And
to say
if
Man
you're-
United's all
yeah.
Ferguson.
So if you're going to use that rule for
Can't
City,
use that.
Giggs is discounted out.
Yeah.
I would agree. Sir Alex is the biggest one in United's
That
history.
applies to any Barcelona player as well.
No. That's different. Barcelona is different because Pep was there for 3-4 years and he had huge years. But Messi is the biggest figure in Barcelona's history. It's different. You have to take it case by case, bro. You have to take it case by case.
Back, bro,
That's
man.
dead, man.
As I have Kevin
Yeah.
Bruyne in, but I'm not mad at him for having him in because if you look at the premise, Mt Rushmore, the Premier League, right?
Yeah.
Manchester, for me, a Man United player, maybe even 2, need to be in this because they've won 3
I hear
Premier
it.
Leagues.
That's what do you know what? That's what I was trying to break up
They've
with
won-
Rooney
yeah.
and Giggs. I
They-
was like,
yeah.
be looking too Man United, blood.
Yeah,
like that,
they're the
man.
most successful
But
team.
some
They're the most
Yeah,
successful
Barca
team.
makes no
They're the
sense.
most
Messi
successful, yeah.
But
Then you look at
more
Liverpool-
synonymous with
Henry's
Barcelona than
just a
anybody.
Stanley's an outlier. He's nothing to do just
Even
Henry
with
as a
Shearer,
player.
I'm not even mad at Shearer.
Shearer's
Yeah.
number was outlier, so you can have Shearer in
Yes.
because of everything. Then City, the last 8 years, they've turned the Premier League into the Bundesliga, into the Serie A.
Let me tell you guys who I would say are my candidates for Premier League Mount Rushmore. Just players. Alan Shearer, Eric Cantona, Wayne Rooney, Ryan Giggs, Dennis Bergkamp, Thierry Henry, Kevin De Bruyne, Sergio Aguero, John Terry, Frank Lampard. Give me a second. Am I missing anybody else? Steven Gerrard. Gerrard would be tough to make that argument. But if I were to take a Liverpool guy, it would probably be Steven Gerrard. Mohamed Salah. Let's be real. Liverpool aren't going to have that many. Liverpool, unfortunately, the fact that they never won the Premier League until, they have one Premier League title in the entirety of league's history. They're not going to have that many. Kane has no chance of being in a Premier League. I thought someone said Kane. Kane, don't even mention him in this conversation. Roy Keane, I could hear it. Like I said, for me, United, they have 4 representatives for this. Am I missing anybody else? Vardy, you're stretching it, bro. Vardy, you'd find it very difficult to really win a case for Jamie Vardy to be on there. I think I'm happy with those guys. Those guys for me are the ones that you cannot tell the story of the Premier League without. Drogba for me, again, I would put him below John Terry and Lampard. And at that point, you already have 2 Chelsea guys. If Drogba's the 3rd guy you're bringing forward for Chelsea, it's difficult. United, it's different because they got 13 of them, man. Why won't we give KDB's flowers now instead of when he retires? I think KDB gets a lot of flowers, bro. I wouldn't listen to Faisal is not the guy who speaks on Kevin De Bruyne over anybody. Kevin De Bruyne gets a lot of flowers, bro. Kevin De Bruyne just finished on a Ballon d'Or podium a few seasons ago. But anyways, those would be my guys in terms of Premier League Mount Rushmore. I don't think I've really forgotten anybody, but just to kind of tell you, there's players that I haven't named that I think are some of the greatest in Premier League history. but they don't summarize the Premier League for me.
Into the French league where it's just one
But
team
that's many
domination.
players who's done it. That's many players.
That's
But who's been the one constant?
chosen De Bruyne as the face.
KDB's fair. I hear it.
constant.
I hear it. KDB, I hear it. I just not for me. I wouldn't. I would put.
Would Jose
for me,
be
I
there
would
if it was
maybe
icons?
have
Yeah, Jose
3,
would
4
have a
players
case.
over
Wenger would have a
KDB.
case, by the way, as
I
well
would
too.
even
I'm saying he would have a
another-
case.
I would
but
have 2
for
United
me,
players
Terry
over
and Lampard
KDB.
are more
Cantona
Chelsea
would be
for
in
me
there.
than Mourinho.
If I had to pick someone, Cantona would be in there. What he's done the early.
Yeah.
Cantona would be
No, we're
over.
doing a
over
foreign
KDB.
one as well.
Would you like to elaborate on that one since you was there to see it all?
Huh?
Would you like to elaborate on what Cantona was doing, please?
I was there.
What was he doing?
I wasn't there.
What was Cantona doing?
Bro,
Well, since you want to have him in, what was he doing?
Cristiano Ronaldo's.
Don't, no, they want to switch
That's too
Ronaldo.
I mean,
I
it's
wanna
not too
spin to
far.
Cantona.
You could
Don't
definitely
do
make an
that.
argument. Ronaldo is the most famous footballer of all time. He played in the Prem. He won the Ballon d'Or. He arguably has one of the greatest seasons in Prem history. But I just think the duration of it kind of hurts him a little bit. I think that's what hurts Ronaldo.
Cantona.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
My OG.
Cantona did a lot. Cantona did a lot, man. He
Nah,
saved
Cantona
United.
did a lot, but I didn't like the way he just threw him in there ahead of KDB.
can we also
You don't
mention-
believe that. You don't believe that.
he doesn't.
He's got beef with De Bruyne. He
doesn't.
does time.
100%.
All the time.
Can we also mention that we didn't even have mentioned this player with the most Premier League titles, Ryan Giggs?
Yeah.
Has to be,
Yeah,
for
of
me,
course.
and that's just
Most
a cherry. That's just a cherry on top.
But that's what
so
I'm
for
saying.
me, he has to kind of be there.
Giggs, Rooney, and Shearer is a must.
It looks like we have Henry, Shearer, Giggs, and Rooney.
That should be.
that-
You know,
That's-
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
I can't lie to
I'm
you.
not mad at it.
There's some of the names you mentioned very cute.
Listen,
Very cute.
I was doing it for content purposes.
Let's see if this gets more interesting then. Let's do a non-British one, a foreign one.
Yeah.
So now we're taking out Shearer, Giggs, and Rooney are all out this because they're all British.
Yeah.
Slap
Okay,
Cantona.
no foreigners. So only foreigners then. Foreigners for me. Let me give you my list now. Henry, Eric Cantona, Aguero. Am I missing anybody obvious? For me, it's between 2 guys. For me, it's between Dennis Bergkamp and Kevin De Bruyne. But those 3 for me are, in terms of Premier League icons, they're in. I would say if I could put 5, it would be those 5. Dennis Bergkamp, I'm gonna give it to Kevin De Bruyne. I am gonna give it to Kevin De Bruyne. Even though Dennis Bergkamp, he pushes it, bro. Bergkamp in terms of Premier League legacy, wow. That guy made people fall in love with football. But yeah, I'll give it to Kevin De Bruyne. Bro, you Liverpool fans, you're not gonna have much of a leg to stand on here, man. In terms of actually getting on this list, bro, you're not gonna have too much of a leg to stand on, man. Nah, for me, in terms of Premier League, can I tell the story of them? I think those are the 4.
We've got lots of names, you know. I mean, I've gone for, obviously, along with Henry, he's already in there.
This one I've kind of did what I kind of.
I've gone for Sergio Aguero.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Sergio Aguero's on mine.
Well done. Sergio Aguero.
Well done.
Well, Premier League's
done.
greatest moment.
Well done.
Sure.
Well done.
I've got Sergio Aguero along with Henry.
What, no girl?
Do I have him?
Wait.
What?
He said no Man City players, so I just wanted to double
Sergio
check.
Aguero. You putting Sergio Aguero in
I'm
there?
putting Sergio Aguero.
Yes.
Wow, foreign.
What? Yeah, I don't care foreign. What? Because of the. You might as well put Gunnigan in there. Put 2 guys against Aston Villa. Cough about that. It's not because of one
What?
goal, bro. Cough, man.
Faisal
Nah,
was having
put
a
Aguero
decent
in there.
episode before this too. Nah, that's
Put Aguero in
crazy.
there. What Champions League greatest moment? Nah, man.
Disrespecting
Nah. I'm not putting Aguero in there.
this is
How close is
Aguero's
Haaland? Not
touching
close.
in
He
my
needs
This
to
is
do
what
it for a
Pep
few more
Guardiola
years,
has done.
bro.
He's
Come on.
almost
He's
made
a flash in the pan.
Aguero era kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Aguero's
just
cute.
such a.
He's cute, but he's not touching. No.
Aguero was
Never.
carrying.
Huh?
Was
Yes,
carrying
for sure.
City at times. bro.
100% he was.
Carrying.
Aguero, bro, I'm telling you,
Go to
Aguero. People, I don't even think it's a nostalgia, bro. Aguero was like yesterday for me. It doesn't feel that long ago. Like for me, you talk about nostalgia. You want to talk to me about Henry, Fairs. Aguero was like yesterday, man. That's not that far back. I can't believe how Aguero, and it's tough, right? Because how dominant Pep City team has. This is it's arguably the best Premier League team ever. But bro, Aguero was that guy, man. He was that guy.
He's
Who
in
do you
there.
have along with Henry? You've got 3 spots available.
In the Prem, he was
Chichi's
that
in there,
guy.
of course.
Yes.
Cantona's in there. Saved United.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Okay. No, I don't disagree with it, but it's just coming from you.
I need
I
to
don't
hear
know.
the case.
I don't know.
How many Premier Leagues did he win with United?
United.
I know.
He won 5, no? Or 4 or 5? I think he won
No,
4.
he didn't win
4 or 5.
I believe it was 4. You might be right. I believe it was 4.
One was
I don't even know if he won 4. Cantona retired when what? 98, 97. How many league titles does Eric Cantona have? He has one of Leeds, or he has a league title of Leeds. He doesn't have a Premier League title of Leeds. I think he might only have 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, he has 4. 92, 93, 93, 94, 94, 95. Oh, 95, 96, 96, 97. He could have had more, man. Cantona retired too early. Honestly, he retired at like what, 31?
Leeds maybe.
Yeah,
No. United. Premier League.
United.
He joined
Oh,
United
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah,
season
the
when he
first
started.
season they
When
did.
they won that
early
one, they won the next one. Then they didn't win the one after
think
that.
he
was
won four
Blackburn.
still.
Then he won. Yeah, I think he won.
When you
four.
think of the early Premier League heritage,
mad.
Cantona's what are
He
we
won it
doing
every
here?
year except for the year he was
I
banned.
don't
Fuck.
disagree.
What are we doing here?
For me, I just personally, preference-wise, I could say Cantona, go the easy route and say Cantona as well because of what his impact at Man United and what
No, I agree.
what transcended after that. But I just, for me, preference.
But he's talking in generalities. He's not
When
specified anything
when I'm
or any
talking about,
reason.
go back to
Yeah.
the original.
If I were to make the argument for Eric
will be
Cantona,
the
right?
closest people
Eric Cantona was basically, for me, the guy that turned Sir Alex's vision for Manchester United into a reality, in my opinion. Everything that came after Eric Cantona, for me, wouldn't have happened without Eric Cantona coming in. You look at the class of 92, the Giggs, the Scholes, the Neville brothers, Nicky Butt. They're amazing, young, talented players. But they're not doing shit without Eric Cantona as like the head of that team, bro. That's the head honcho right there. That's the elder statesman. That's the guy that whenever they're not playing well, they can look at big bro, Eric Cantona, man. In terms of a guy that United could just kind of give the ball to and you could cook up a moment of magic. Big moments, FA Cup finals, games against Chelsea. This was the guy, bro. Eric Cantona, in terms of turning Man United from a team that were like, they were coming, and then they signed Eric Cantona. He's like the guy that took them over the edge for me, man.
to get to the top four. No, you know how we had the Shearer the original? Cantona will be above the likes of KDB.
Why? You're not giving me the why.
Move
You're
on,
just
move on.
stating general statements.
So, what do you say?
He's saying
Nah, bro.
Cantona,
I'm not letting him get off the hook
The
with
third
this.
person, I'm gonna be real. Despite the fact he was only here for what? 4 years?
Luis Suarez.
Cristiano.
4 years? No. Cristiano.
Cristiano.
He was here for longer than 4 years. That's a
Cristiano.
That's long enough.
Cristiano, free Pete Ballon d'Or. The
Won a Ballon
only
d'Or.
till
40 goals,
today,
42 goals.
till today, the only Premier League player to win a Ballon d'Or.
What about
That's
Michael
not
Owen?
true.
No, till today. No, since then, when he left, no one has done it since then.
I agree.
What the fuck's wrong with this guy, man? What? This guy is battling with himself every single day he opens his mouth, bro. What the fuck does that mean?
Only here for what?
Luis Suarez.
4 years? No. Cristiano.
Cristiano.
Cristiano was there for 6 years. 6 years.
Cristiano.
It's long enough.
Cristiano, free Pete Ballon d'Or. The
Won a Ballon
only
d'Or.
till
40 goals,
today,
42 goals.
till today, the only Premier League player to win a Ballon d'Or.
What about Michael Owen?
No, till today. No, since then, when he left, no one has done it since then.
I agree. They didn't word that correctly.
Yeah, I didn't want to correct.
He is
And
fighting the
to
language.
be fair, Michael Owen.
Well,
that's a
Rodri's
myth.
about to win it.
Michael Owen's a myth, huh?
Rodri's about to win it.
Don't
No,
joke
Rodri's
with that
not
one.
winning it.
Don't joke with that
Rodri's
one.
about to
Do not joke with that one.
Oh man,
Do not joke
have
with
some
that
shame, man.
Okay, who else?
Lastly, that one, you might guys will be upset.
Okay.
I would have Mohammed in there.
I got Salah. I got Salah.
Okay.
Muhammad!
I don't have Salah.
Muhammad!
I got him.
I don't.
Of course Muhammad is there.
I don't have Salah still.
Not for me.
He was literally the next one after.
Ah,
I have
so
a different four.
he jammed Cantona in there, which I love Cantona. I think Cantona's great, but I think you're so facetious and nonsensical for that. Who are your
Mine
others?
is Thierry, of course.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
100%.
I got Sergio Aguero, and then I have Patrick Vieira.
Good shout.
Decent shout. Yeah, fair. I forgot about Vieira. But I do think in terms of like Premier League, like who summarized the Premier League, I would put Am I wrong for putting Bergkamp over Vieira? Not in terms of who was better, but in terms of who for me summarizes Premier League football. I think Bergkamp for me over Vieira. But yeah, fair enough. Vieira was the captain. Vieira came up with some huge moments. I think Bergkamp is part of that era as well too. That kind of like in terms of foreign players coming into the Premier League, it was like Cantona and then Zola and then Bergkamp. They were kind of like that first group of foreigners that came into the Premier League and basically catapulted the product from like, okay, a great league to like a global game. Depends on preference. Bergkamp is Wenger's Cantona, Vieira is Keane. I think that's incredibly well put. That's incredibly well put.
A good shout.
Patrick's in there for me.
Yeah,
Patrick's a good shout.
Patrick's
that's a
in there
very
for
good
me.
shout.
Patrick's in
I
there.
can't lie. I think Cristiano might be the one I left out.
No, you can't leave.
Who's yours?
Cristiano.
You can't. Aguero, Henry, Salah, De Bruyne.
Yeah, because remember he had Henry and De Bruyne in the first
Okay,
one.
take Kun Aguero out. Take him out. And slap him.
Cristiano's got for me.
What are we saying here, man? What? Do you guys not know who Aguero is?
Cristiano's got more of a shout than Aguero.
And that's the thing.
I've got
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I feel like Aguero has come out of this video so disrespected. Wow.
Do you know what?
Ronaldo,
Do you know
yeah.
what my issue is? Ronaldo was so ridiculously good for Madrid. Sometimes
You forget
I forget
about
how good he was
for Man United.
even at United, because the evolution of Ronaldo happened at United.
Those last 3 seasons at United, Ronaldo was fantastic. 2 Premier League Player of the Years. The third one, statistically, not his best year, but still very, very good. Look, Ronaldo has definitely the case. Let me not act like Ronaldo has no chance at this, right? But I think there are guys I would put forward above him personally, and I can't Aguero for me has to be in this 4 in terms of foreigners. It's a non-negotiable for me. I genuinely think people have forgotten who Sergio Aguero was. And for me, foreigners in the Premier League, he's non-negotiable in the 4.
Tainer.
I'm so glad you said that because the player he was at United was a different player. Ooh.
Stop that, bro.
Can I say for Cristiano? Can I make a case for Cristiano?
Go on.
Cristiano.
No, that's not need to make a case.
No. I want to hear it.
Okay, so Ronaldo obviously started off at United. A bit of a rough start in his first season. Bit of a rough
Spaghetti
start.
hair.
Like he had raw talent. Raw talent.
As a striker.
No, but I can't lie. Van Nistelrooy was right in what he was saying.
Yeah,
Like, his decision making.
Fergie thought long term
wasn't great. It wasn't great, but electrifying.
No, it
Again,
wasn't.
he was putting everybody on. Every time he touched the ball,
Yeah.
you see bro. If you watch the old footage of
Bolton,
Ronaldo,
I remember the game.
Anytime Ronaldo touched the ball, the whole crowd
Yeah,
stands
but
up.
then they made the other players take him out.
Take him out, no, 100%, because but it toughened him. It became mainly the player that he is today. But even throughout his career at United, if you look at some of the achievements, individual achievements, winning PFA Player of the Year, winning twice,
Young player as well.
golden boot, scoring 42 goals in a season.
Closest to United, Ronaldo, not United. Anthony or Garnacho?
Fairs, man.
Yeah,
both
calm.
keeping Ronaldo
Say no
back.
more. Fuck you,
They're
Sharky.
keeping Ronaldo back.
Fuck you.
In that conversation, Garnacho, but nowhere near the
Ronaldo
talent
back,
level. Nowhere near the talent. The aura, if you talk about aura wise, the closest
Anthony's got
is
aura.
probably Garnacho. Anthony's got aura.
He's got aura.
That aura is negative
Anthony's
1,000.
got-
Yeah, that one. That's it.
Yeah, he did it
Yeah, he's
so
doing it
well.
exactly doing it so well as well. I can't lie to you. The first 3 games, I thought he had it.
Yeah.
The first 3 games I made, I thought he had it.
when he scored the Arsenal goal, you thought,
Yeah, he's a
hit the
fool.
back
I
of
never
the
thought
sun.
Anthony had it
But
for a
no,
second.
wasn't to be. But going back to Cristiano, I feel like we say Cristiano, we say Thierry Henry is the greatest Premier League player of all time. But I think if you talk about the greatest terms of player
To ever step foot.
I agree.
it's for me, it's Cristiano
Yeah,
Ronaldo.
I
Like
agree.
the
I have
level,
to put him in,
the level he reached in the Premier League, I don't think there's ever been a player.
can't lie,
I'm
even-
talking about the levels though. The levels of
You're right.
reach in terms of reach.
Even when
he
he
did
came
all of
back.
that before the age of 23. If you think about
Crazy.
it,
Even when he came back.
even when he, but
Well, like, bro,
Oh,
19
love
goals.
the
I don't
season
even want
he
to
came
talk about
back.
that. Right?
19 goals.
I just want to talk
How
about
hat-trick against Spurs? But 90 goals in a bummy team.
No, I hear it. Okay, but I'm
Bummy
saying those
team.
first 6 years, winning, being the best player in the league,
Ballon d'Or
winning,
winner.
charging your team into
you know
a
what's the-
three-peat
do you know
of
what's
the Premier League, the
Yeah,
first
that
ever
three-peat is
three-peat
crazy.
in terms of winning with the Champions League as well. In that sense,
Do you know what's a small thing as
Incredible,
well that I
bro.
think gets
Incredible.
overlooked as well?
Yeah.
The fact that this brother was named Ronaldo.
yeah,
Like, do you know how
Yeah.
much
That's
of a
nuts.
curse almost that is
Yeah.
to be better than one of the greatest
true.
players ever
No,
who's named
it's
Ronaldo?
so mad that
It's
now
like-
you have to say Brazilian
Yes.
Ronaldo in front
Yeah.
of the
Or
Ronaldo.
like-
line.
Back then, it used
He's
to be
taking his name,
fake
it's his.
Ronaldo or
That's
real
crazy.
Ronaldo.
That's crazy.
That's how you used to differentiate
Yeah.
him. It's like, nah, he's Cristiano
No,
now.
yeah.
You first name basis,
You ain't
bro.
even gotta say Cristiano. If you say Ronaldo, everyone thinks about Cristiano.
Cristiano, yeah.
You have to say Brazilian Ronaldo. You have to
Yeah.
say or
That's
fat Ronaldo.
crazy.
You have to say.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
No, it's
That's
mad.
that's
He's taking his
nuts.
name.
But everything he achieved at United in those 6 years was by the age of 23.
Nah, it's-
winning
it's-
the
it's
Ballon
actually
d'Or,
crazy,
winning
yeah.
those 3 Premier Leagues, including the Champions League in that run.
I'm still thinking about my last 2 for the main Mount Rushmore guys.
Cristiano's in there. You gotta go.
I'm sorry, my
Can't have two
brother.
City players, man.
I can't have 2 City players, and if I'm gonna pick one, it's gonna be De
So
Bruyne.
keep
And
Salah in.
yeah, Salah's staying.
I got Salah.
Salah is 100%
For me,
staying.
Salah's not in there.
Salah, Henry, nah.
Salah doesn't have
Bro,
is
I
not a
think
greater
Salah's-
Premier League
Salah's
icon than
undisputed.
Aguero.
undisputed.
Hold on. Who's your four?
My four was Patrick Vieira.
It's Vieira.
So
Sergio
Vieira
Aguero.
is the question mark now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Patrick Vieira, Sergio
For me,
Aguero, Ronaldo,
foreigners in the Prem,
Of course,
only Henry
Vieira.
comes above
No,
Aguero.
question,
I'll be real.
Because technically,
In terms of like
Roy Keane
Prem,
also
like who I
qualifies.
think of.
But I think Patrick Vieira.
so you're saying
Patrick Vieira's a better
Vieira,
player
you
than-
think
Oh,
Vieira's
he's
better than
He's
Roy
Bergkamp
Keane?
too.
Yeah.
Bergkamp is
He's
up there.
Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
So technically, that's outside British.
Yeah, it's basically.
So
he-
what
he
you're
could-
saying
he
is
can have a
Vieira's
shout.
better than
though.
Roy Keane.
Yeah, I've always said that. I've always said that. I think.
Just clarify.
The way
I've
you
always,
did that.
yeah, no,
I have to say
The
it.
way-
No, but
the way you did
I've been
that
saying this
with
on the pod for
Roy
years.
Keane, fam.
I've been saying on the pod for years.
he is, though.
I had
Vieira-
Patrick Vieira as my best midfielder ever.
Of him trying to put
Nah, but I know,
Roy
but
Keane
it's
into
better.
there.
Vieira,
One of my
Roy
best
Keane.
midfielders ever.
Who's
actually.
better footballer?
Vieira.
Keane, no, Roy Keane was a wonderful player. He actually was. I think he actually even gets discredited and pointed as this
Because he
aggressive
plays
hard
for
man.
United.
He
Let's
actually
call
was
it
a
what
good
it is,
footballer.
bro.
Yeah,
And everything about
Sharky.
him is this hard man. I agree, and I think he was actually a really good footballer.
Keane
And he's a
ran
great leader
games
and
for
all that
United,
stuff.
bro.
But Vieira, I think, is just a way better player than him.
Yeah.
It just was a way better player than him. It's
Way
not even
is
close.
a stretch.
I don't think-
I
I
think
don't
He is a
think it
better.
was
He's
close. I don't
a
think it
he's
was
a
close.
great. Vieira is just a freak. Like, okay, he's an amazing technician. Vieira is so talented, but the difference as well between Vieira and Keane is Vieira is like a foot taller than him, can run like a gazelle. He's a complete midfielder, but Keane is something. Obviously, I would take Vieira over Keane in terms of just who's the better footballer. But the fact that there was even arguments, bro, between the two of them, if you think about it, there should be no argument. Vieira's bigger, stronger, faster, a better dribbler. But Keane, man, oh my God, the way that guy would run games for United, incredible. Stop it, United didn't run shit. Yeah, Keane didn't run shit. You don't know what you're talking about, brother. I'm sorry. Java Fi, I'm sorry. So Giggs ain't shit. Keane ain't shit. Vidic, he was shit too. Gary Neville, we carried him for years. Who else did United have that wasn't shit, bro? Rooney, he was a sidekick. Yeah, bro. How did we win 13 Premier League titles, man? I guess we'll never know. Man. I'm gonna give you guys my 4 for foreigners now and my 4 for regular. My 4 for foreigners: De Bruyne, Henry, Cantona, and Aguero. I would love to get Bergkamp in there. Yeah, I'd love to get Bergkamp in there, but I think those are the 4. I think those are the 4 now. And then my 4 for Premier League, the Premier League Mount Rushmore. I'm going Rooney. I'm going Henry. I'm going Giggs. For me, it's between Aguero and Shearer. Like, genuinely, I've said it 1,000 times. I can't believe how discredited Aguero is in this thing. Bro, whatever you think I think of Salah, Salah is not in a conversation for Premier League Mount Rushmore, bro. Like, in terms of my criteria, he's not. But for me, it's the greatest goal scorer in Premier League history versus the greatest moment in Premier League history. It's a tough one, man. It's really a tough one for me. Like, when I think Premier League, you think constant as well, too. Aguero was just consistent 20, and he has the success in terms of titles that evaded Shearer for a lot of his career. A City player has to be there because they got the second most Premier League titles, too. I hear it. I definitely hear it, bro. Shearer won the league with Blackburn. Yeah, but for me, Newcastle is what he's attributed to. Let's be real. I think I agree with them. I think it probably is Shearer. I think it is Shearer, man. Like, when I think about it, man, 100 club for 2 teams. When you talk about the English Premier League, then what else could it be? For me, it's about who tells the story of the Premier League better than anybody. Who are the 4 guys that sum up Premier League football, the history of the league, greater than anybody? The biggest impact, the biggest legacy. I think I'm going to go for Shearer, man. I think I will edge it to Shearer, but Aguero is so close for me. Honestly, if I had to pick a 5th, it might be Aguero.